Everyone, if you don't mind taking your seats, we're going to start. Great. Well, thank you everyone for coming out tonight. I know it's Chinese New Year, so you're ready to get home and start your celebrations. So we definitely appreciate you coming out tonight. Hope you're enjoying the pizza. So my name is David Moskowitz. I'm a co-founder of Endorse. Just out of curiosity to start with, how many people here know a little bit about Endorse or a lot about Endorse? Anything about Endorse in general? Okay. Couple of you? Okay, cool. So just kind of a brief recap as far as what Endorse is. The simplest way to think about Endorse is LinkedIn on the blockchain, but we're doing a bit more than that. We're actually doing validation of skills on the blockchain. So normally when you put your skill up on a social network, there's no sorts of validations to it. There's no real proof element that what you say you can do, you can actually do. So that's one of the problems that we're looking to solve with Endorse is skills validation, and Gaurang in a minute is going to talk a bit about how we're doing that, using a few different technologies to do that, as well as some original stuff as far as crowdsourced version of that. Also, one of the other things we're looking at is validating additional things such as connections between people, connections between companies and their advisors. And we'll get into that in a bit as well. Gaurang will get into that in a bit. So Endorse has started at about March, April of last year, was when we came up with the initial idea for the platform. And we started developing the POC as well as writing the white paper for it at that point. And then we had an ICO later that year. And again, Gaurang will go ahead and recap a lot of this for you guys, just so you understand kind of where we've been and where we're going. Before Gaurang takes the stage, though, I would like to invite Eddie Travia up from Coincilium. Coincilium is our lead investor in Endorse. They were a very early supporter of Endorse and gave us a lot of the confidence to move ahead with the project. And I've known Eddie personally since 2013, back in the Bitcoin days. He helped organize the first Bitcoin conference here in Singapore. So a real early adopter of the technology, early supporter of the companies in the space. He's been an investor in multiple companies in the space. So Eddie, if you wouldn't mind coming up and talking a little bit about what it is you do and how you can help the community.
Hi everyone, good evening. Happy to be here. This meetup actually reminds me of the meetups we were doing with the Endorse team before the token sale. So I think it's important that you can see that past what we call now post ICO, post token sale, the companies are growing, the companies are building something. A lot of people that are looking at this from the outside, and sometimes, of course, for the inside. I understand all the skepticism at first with all these projects, token sales. Many people are scared that the team will get the money and run away, or the team will get the money and not use it efficiently, and that's very understandable. We have been investing in this space since 2013. We have avoided a few problems because this is a space which has been fostering a lot of innovation. But unfortunately, the media tend to focus on the issues, the problems, the hacks. It's part of the growing up of this environment, right? And so I'm very pleased to be here and see that companies that we support, like Endorse from very early on, they come, they share with you their progress, and they demonstrate to everyone that not only their supporters and investors, they demonstrate to all the skeptics out there that out of these funds, out of these proceeds from token sales, you can build strong companies, solid companies that have a purpose and that are fulfilling a need on the market. We are all users of social media, and I think social media has been around for a while. In the late 90s, I was already quite involved in the internet boom, so I'm quite familiar with all this bubble talk. I I remember I was at Internet World in 1997. 1997, Eric Schmidt was the keynote speaker. He was not working for Google yet. And I remember the excitement around all these projects. And today we're in a world where social media are extremely important, where our digital persona is extremely important. And I think a lot of the tools that we have been using are actually either obsolete or on the direction of obsolescence. I think we need new tools which are actually in line with what's going on now. So some of the key elements that are in Indoors, the original vision that we support are obviously the decentralization. Decentralization is a larger movement than blockchain. Decentralization is the real background movement for all this industry. And Indoors is very well positioned to apply decentralization, the apps, and all these new tools coming from the blockchain world to the social media network. One conversation we had with Indoors during the process of ideation and working on this project and before the token sale was all around how to express exactly what Indoors can do and where Indoors is going. And I think there is a big need for mature and new type of networks for professionals. But at the same time, today, we all have what I could call ephemeral identities. I delivered a TEDx speech in Madrid at Google campus, I don't know, 2 years ago. And I was supposed to talk about blockchain, but I actually started by explaining that we all have different identities, different persona. We all have accounts, social media accounts, we have different functions. We are students, we are teachers, we are investors, we are entrepreneurs. And this is the result of the tools that we can use today. And unfortunately, I think a lot of the platforms and a lot of the, even more if you look at the legal structure, regulatory structure, all the government type-based structures, they haven't really followed. So I think we're in a position where we have to help and support new tools in this space. At the same time, one of the very big issues that are coming up, and I was discussing with very large companies at some events, is the fact that our education and our professional life is changing. We're going into a world of continuous learning. We're going into a world where what we learn at university 5-10 years later is already outdated, right? So we learn at university some tools and some skills which have to be regularly updated and which have to be at the same time validated, because the problem is a lot of people today may pretend they know how to do something, may pretend they have done something, they have gone through a certain type of program and type of education, and unfortunately that may not be the case. So I think at the heart of the identity, of our identity, we have at least to be fair and honest in the way we describe ourselves and what we can do. It's very inefficient if people are hiring people that are supposed to know some skills that they haven't. So at the same time, in the world where we are today, a lot of robotics, a lot of AI, which we support as well, but at the same time, that puts a lot of pressure on human skills. It puts a lot of pressure on how we can see a career, or we can see a work. Of course, we are in the entrepreneurial world, and the entrepreneurial world, I guess we are lucky in the sense that we're used to, reassess ourselves. We're used to retrain ourselves. We're used to take on challenges. Investing in Bitcoin startups in 2013 may seem today like a good idea, right? So when I came in 2013 and I met with David, nobody, a lot of doors were closed, even in Singapore, which was actually quite already looking at fintech very seriously. I remember I I went to speak to INSEAD, I went to speak to a few institutions in Singapore, and they had no idea what I was talking about. What is Bitcoin? What is this? Why are you talking to us? Does cryptocurrency have anything to do with management or finance? They didn't see that at the time, right? So entrepreneurs, they take on the chance, they take on the risk, but at the same time, the whole world is changing, and a lot of the things we do today or tomorrow is going to be done either through apps or robots, etc. So that's a big challenge as well. And this is a challenge, this is the new environment where our skills are even more important, and the fact that they are actually validated and they're actually honest and real. So in that sense, in the world of lifelong learning, education, and making sure that our skills are what they are and what we're talking about, what we say they are, I think we are very, I think there's a great match between what we do. We are advisors to a lot of ICOs. We also want to make sure that people who see these ICOs understand that we are real advisors to these projects. And unfortunately, some projects may use our name sometimes without actually our consent. So it's another type of issue that is in the world right now of token sales. So that's another issue that I hope Indors will help solve. In terms of this whole landscape, still a lot of opportunities. I've heard from Laurent that there are many companies here being incubated or in Singapore being accelerated or incubated that are actually looking at ICOs. I think it's great. I think token sales are a great way to raise funds and to create utility in a new online economy and a new token economy. As long as you have a team that understands the type of service they want to offer and the token as a utility, that's fine. We support projects from all around the world. We've been in this space, as David was saying, for more than 4 years now, and we also come regularly actually to Singapore. Last time at the SG Innovate, right? So we come regularly to Singapore with our investee startup token, and we inform people like you, who may be entrepreneurs or investors or token buyers, about this topic. So if you want to learn more about what we do, you can look at coincilium.com, COIN. We are a company on the stock market in the UK called Next Exchange. And as well, if you want to know more about our meetups, we have the startup token meetup in Singapore. We maybe every 2 to 3 months will be around. Thank you very much. I'll let the Indors team tell you what they've been helpful. Thank you.
Thank you, Eddie. So now I'm going to speak about Indors. I hope most of you know about Indors now and what we are doing. So let me quickly take you through the recap of Indors over the last year, and then I'll tell you about our goals and vision for this year. I'm also going to be speaking about smart contract design and what we learned in the process as a company and as a team of decentralized developers or smart contract engineers. I'll also talk about launch of new features on Indors in this year. So yeah, let me start the journey from May 2017 when we received the investment from Coincilium. So that was our first VC investment, and actually that gave us a lot of boost to actually start with this entire process for the ICO. So before this, I and David, we have been working on another company called Atorus, where we were doing blockchain, smart contracts as a service. So we already had a project with Neon Polytechnic at that time, which is in production now. So in March or April last year, we wrote the white paper, and subsequently we again talked with Eddie and Malcolm, and they were kind enough to offer their support to us. And the support has been really valuable throughout the journey of the token sale and even later on. So following the investment, in June and July, I and David, we went on a lot of meetups all across Europe and Southeast Asia. So, I went in Europe and David was traveling across Asia. China, Vietnam, many other places. And this proved to be really valuable because through these meetups, through meeting the community, attending conferences, we gained a lot of feedback from the community. I got entrenched in the community worldwide because in Singapore I've been arranging Ethereum meetups for a while, but outside Singapore I've got a lot of insights, a lot of perspective on what's happening in the ICO space and the blockchain space all over the world. After that, at the same time, we were also working on a POC for Endorse. So I never suggest people. So I am an advisor for some ICOs. I always tell them that you need to have some code, you need to have some kind of POC at least before you do an ICO. And we were trying to follow the same model at the time as well. And then in July, just before the ICO, in the pre-sale, we raised around 17,000 Ether. That was the bulk of the Ether in the ICO. After that, we conducted the token sale over August and September. Beginning of September, first week, we concluded the token sale and we raised almost 27,000 Ether at that time. Yeah, and then once the ICO was done, we pulled up the socks and we got down to the work. Next 2 months, Dipesh went through almost 1,000 CVs. We went on a hiring spree across London, Singapore, and India. We hired almost 5 to 6 smart contract developers at the time from London, and we launched the MVP of Endorse by the end of November. On Endorse at that time, you could create your profile on a completely decentralized stack. Right from Airbits at the top, which does the decentralized authentication, to BigChain DB, where you can store your data in a decentralized manner, and using IPFS, where you can store your files in a decentralized way. This was one of the first times where you could have a completely decentralized profile on the blockchain. And I think that was a good achievement for my team because just in almost 2.5 months, we could deliver the MVP. Actually, we again learned a lot of things in this process. Winnie, who was consulting us at that time, she also gave us some good insights on the various fronts. So that was back in November. After the launch of the MVP, we have been working on multiple features at the same time. Recently, in January, we managed to hit more than 6,000 users. A great marketing campaign was done by Avadhoot and JJ. And in January, we also received a second tranche of investment from Coinsilium. Thank you for that, Eddie. Now, some people might think, why would they invest again? I would let Eddie answer that question later on. Yeah, so let me quickly take you through the marketing team, what they're doing, and the business team, what they're doing. So on the marketing side, we ran a great and successful campaign where people could create the profiles on the blockchain. So the best profile won some 500 tokens or something, and people gave a great response to this campaign. So over a weekend, we got more than 2,000 people who came on the platform, signed up, and created their profiles and completed them. Actually, we had to stop the competition. We had to stop the campaign because we reached the limit. Actually, we increased the limit once, and then we had to stop it again. So I was joking with JJ. I had made him a challenge that if you get me more than 1,000 users, I'll give you 3 pizzas, and then I had to give him 6 for the next week. So yeah, that was a great campaign. The next one we are working on is called the Blockchain 101 bot campaign. I'll be speaking more about that, but this is also getting great response. Where people come and answer questions about blockchain, and you would be surprised that what people really want to validate the skills. So after the ICO, we have always been about going in the market, getting feedback from the people, and iterating on the process. So in the Blockchain 101 bot campaign, it proves that people actually are willing to take the efforts to validate the skills, answer some questions, and go through some processes. And I think that's a great validation for Endorse. Next campaign we are working on is called the Pioneer Match campaign. More details about that will be coming out soon. On the business and sales side, Dipesh and Nakib, who is not here unfortunately, they have been working very hard, attending a lot of events, meetups, and conferences. In the last month itself, they have talked to more than 80 companies. 15 of them have shown a willingness to come on Endorse and join our company pages platform. And I think that's a great way to start the sales process, even when we are still building the features. And with Endorse, as a product guy, it has always been my focus or my push to actually keep iterating on user feedback. And I think companies have given us a lot of feedback. So they tell us what we should be building. They tell us which features are important for them and which are not, and that helps us prioritize the features as a product team or as a company. And the team has grown. As you see, we have all the rock stars and the Jedi and the Sith as well. We have about 19 people right now. Some of them are based in London. Singapore team is also growing quite well right now. We have a lot of developers. We have a good mix of marketing and business team, and it's me and David as well. So now I'll be telling you more about our vision for 2018. So as a product guy, building a great product has always been my first priority. So at Endorse, we will be delivering the best damn product possible. I'll be delivering the best code possible, and that's the ethos of the entire company. After the product, the next most important thing is branding. So when we were doing the token sale and we were going around Europe and Asia, we always concentrated, we always tried to imbibe the why of Endorse. Like, why should you be joining Endorse? Why should you be using Endorse? And Eddie spoke a great deal about that, and it was really, really insightful. I think over the last 4 to 5 months, we haven't been concentrating on that. And this year, that's going to be our priority as well, to tell people and to imbibe why you should be joining Endorse. Although Endorse is cool as a technology, the branding message is even more important. And hence, we are working with Service Plan from Munich, which is one of the biggest advertising agencies in Germany. Service Plan already works with brands like BMW, IKEA, and they are working with us on a friendly basis, but in a professional manner as well. So they will be rebranding entire Endorse, which will be done within April or May, and that's one of the big major things in this year. Marketing, business development, and community are definitely the most important things for us. And based on all these activities and all these things going on in the company, we have a target of getting at least 200,000 to 300,000 users this year. And I think that's possible. When other companies in the blockchain space can do it, Endorse can do it as well. And I believe in JJ and his team to deliver on this promise. No pressure. And soon we might be getting revenues as well in the next 1 or 2 months. Based on the feedback that Dipesh is getting from the companies, they are actually willing to pay. And I think this is a really good sign for Endorse. So what we have achieved in the last 1 or 2 months is to get a clear direction for where our company is going, both on the marketing front and the business front as well. So the 2 directions, so we'll be simultaneously working in 2 directions. One is the B2B and one is the B2C. So on the B2C front, we'll be concentrating on acquiring users, creating more engagement with them, and some of the features that might be useful for them are skills validation, as promised in our white paper earlier. And we have also identified this new vertical B2B, where companies are willing to build company pages and do advisor endorsements. So I'll be talking about that in a while as well. Ultimately, this year I want to take Endorse to the far right corner. That is this business 101. So you have some applications, you have some technologies which are very easy to use, like Facebook, Google, LinkedIn, Twitter. There are some technologies like Ethereum or IPFS which are very hard to use. On Ethereum, on this axis, you get full control on your data, while using other social networks, you might have to give up your data, and most of the times you do. Don't get me wrong, Ethereum, I love it. We are building based on that, but it's frankly not easy to use. Tell me how many of you have lost your private keys, how many times? I would imagine at least 1 or 2 times each of them. And even on IPFS, you always keep losing your hashes. When you upload something on IPFS, it's never easy to find. But Endorse, my entire focus is to take Endorse to the right side, top corner. You get control on your data, and it is very easy to use. Like David is always pushing me to make it easy for people to use. Even non-technical people should be able to use it. People who don't know blockchain should be able to use it. Essentially, the idea is that while using Endorse, you shouldn't even know that there's a blockchain in the backend. That's my vision. And Eddie has, I think, echoed this earlier that blockchain after a few years is going to become like the rails of the entire financial network and other non-financial networks as well. So nowadays you use the internet and everything, almost everything, and you don't need to know how TCP/IP protocol works. I think blockchain can be the same way. You don't really need to know the intricacies of blockchain. You don't need to be a blockchain expert to actually use blockchain applications. And that's the vision we are trying to attain with Endorse. So a lot of activities, a lot of features are being built at the same time in Endorse. Our development team is divided into 2 teams essentially. So one of them is working on a connections smart contract. So a very good news is that the connection smart contract is going for a formal audit day after tomorrow, right, Rick? Okay. So yeah, so day after tomorrow it will be going for a formal audit. We are doing it with Hacken, which is also one of the portfolio companies of Coinsilium and Startup Token. We'll be also starting a public bug bounty for the connection smart contract, and I hope the community gives us a great response to participate in that and try to find vulnerabilities in the contract. We also have the blockchain 101 bot going on, the campaign, and we'll also have a few other bots like blockchain 101 Java bot and all other bots, which will be like your pre-screening for your skills validation. So imagine that you go for a HR interview, but instead of HR, there's a bot who is asking you basic questions. Like your first round of interview will be done by a bot, and that's what we are trying to do here. And Arif just launched the new landing page, and that's also part of our rebranding process. And the landing page looks really good. You should take a look at endorse.io. And by the way, go to endorse.io and sign up. If you show your profile and username to the page, you will get a cool fidget spinner, which has a Ethereum logo on one side. Yeah, so let me go into a little bit more detail about blockchain 101 bot and essentially how the chatbots or AI fits in with the vision of Endorse. So the blockchain 101 bot, what it does is it asks you 10 basic questions about blockchain. It asks you what is a 51% attack, what is a consensus, what is a mining algorithm, and which mining algorithm is used by Bitcoin or Ethereum. So essentially, if you can't answer these basic questions, you really don't know anything about blockchain. The same concept can be applied to multiple other skills. So if I say that I know Java, and I can't even answer what is a class, or what is polymorphism, or what is inheritance, then I really don't know Java. Same thing can be applied to not only technical or developer skills, but also to customer executive skills or even HR skills. You could even apply this for lawyers. I don't know. Right? So that's the basic idea about the chatbots. And with Endorse, we want to do skills validation, and the ultimate vision for that is the crowdsourced peer-to-peer validation, where other people in the community, other people on the platform will be able to validate you based on your proofs and your claims. But to reach that ultimate vision, we need a lot of things. We need a lot of users on the platform. We need them to be active on a daily basis. And some of the cool technologies that we are working on, they need to be online all the time and all those things. So essentially, we are approaching the skills validation in a tiered approach, a step-by-step approach. So the first step is going to be using AI chatbots. Second step can be using expert validations or using trusted sources of validation. So we could use the Actorus certificate from the blockchain, or if you have a certificate from Coursera or even General Assembly, you could upload that as a proof element with your claim. And that could give you more points on your skills validation. It could increase the reputation that you have on the platform. Yeah, so that brings me to one of the most pressing concerns in the ICO space. There are too many scams. I put it out there, and I think I'm right in this case. We have been collecting a lot of data. So even me as an advisor, I get so many requests. Just yesterday, some company added me as an advisor without even asking me, and I'm just a small guy in this blockchain space. The popular people like Eddie or Vitalik, they get so many requests, they get so many additions as an advisor, even though they are not an advisor. There have been some big scandals where people just add their names and the value of the ICO goes up multiple. So we are trying to solve that problem. So Indor's mission is to be a place where people and companies come to get validated. Idea is that I want to convert Indors into a brand which is synonymous with validations. Actually, the meaning of Indors itself is validations. And I'm kid you not, Indors is actually a dictionary word. So you must know about endorse with an E. But actually, the meaning of endorse is when you write on the back of a check, sign on the back of a check, that's called endorsing. It's kind of a validation. And that's what we are aiming to be with Indors. And Indors wants to be your only trusted source in a trustless world. We are achieving this with the use of a connections smart contract. We want to do this completely on a blockchain. Anybody will be able to use it. But on Indors, you can come and check all the companies and all their advisors. We want to be a place where people say, hey, is your company on Indors? If not, then you're not legit. To become legit, you have to be on Indors and get your advisors validated. So let me quickly take you through the concept of connections smart contract. One of my engineers, Jack Tanner, he has worked on this and we have made it really abstract and it's a really beautiful concept. So in the connections smart contract, everything is going to be an entity. It can be a user entity or a virtual entity. So a user entity is controlled by a user, and so every user entity will have a user as an owner, an Ethereum address as its owner, and a virtual entity could be controlled by a user entity or it might not as well. So we have tried to keep it very flexible so that it can be applied to multiple use cases. Now take an example. In this case, a virtual entity could be a company. Or a virtual entity could be an NGO, or it can be the PayPal incubator. Or if you go even further, a virtual entity can be a chair, it could be just the light bulb. So I'm envisioning a future where this connection smart contract could be used for even connecting your IoT devices to your company, or connecting the IoT devices to your own Ethereum address in the future. It's not possible immediately, but I don't know, 5 to 6 years down the line, it might be possible. So now what will happen is when the companies create their company pages on Indors, they will be able to start adding their advisors on Indors. If the advisor has a user profile and a user entity on Indors, the company can send him a connection request directly on the blockchain. So that becomes a trustless matter. Company sends a request to the advisor, and the advisor will do one more transaction on the blockchain, kind of like doing a handshake. So if you might be familiar with the TCP/IP protocol, there are a lot of handshakes in that. So this is a kind of similar mechanism. So what happens is for every advisor for a company, you will see 2 transactions on the blockchain. One is a request from the company, and second is a acknowledgement by the advisor or a validation by the advisor saying that he is actually an advisor to this company. So on endorse on the company page, you might even have 3 or 4 states that an advisor is not validated, an advisor is in progress for validation, or the advisor has been validated. Now this concept, mind me, can be applied to multiple other scenarios. So instead of a connection called is advisor, you can even have a connection called is employee. So as endorsed, I could start adding RF or JJ as an employee, and they will do a validation transaction back a handshake, saying that they actually work at endorse. And I think this is a really powerful concept. There have been some ICOs which have been, people blame them that they don't have any advisors, they don't have any employees, and this is a great trustless way of proving that you actually have employees. One of the problems here might be that one of the problems we are actually trying to solve is with the identity of the people on the platform. Is with the identities of the users and advisors of the platform. We are trying to solve the civil attack issue, and I think we have some nice solutions for that. We might also be tying up with other solutions like Viewport, Civet, Airbus. We are already using it. So these solutions will help us to overcome that challenge, and we will be able to prove in a trustless manner that this is an employee of the company. And just take it further, one step down the line, this could even apply between companies. So nowadays, during the ICOs or even after the ICOs, companies keep partnering with each other. You could just sign a transaction or two on the blockchain and say that I'm a partner of this company. This could even apply for user-to-user connections, but we are not envisioning that right now because it might not be scalable in the current scenario. Once we have certain solutions like Plasma or Reader integrated with Endorse, then we'll try to do that. And see, with this company and advisor validation, I also don't see much problem in scalability because every company might have hardly 10 or 20 advisors or maybe 30, 40 employees to begin with the companies that we are targeting right now. And hence, I don't envision or I don't foresee there will be many transactions on the blockchain, and it might not face a scalability issue. Yeah, coming back to how we develop this smart contract, let me tell you, it takes way longer than anticipated. It took us a long time than we had envisioned in the beginning, and that's not just because Solidity is difficult. Writing a smart contract is okay. Like a good smart contract developer can write it quite quickly, but testing it out, finding the security vulnerabilities, and finding the logical flaws in the smart contract is the challenge. You can ask me later on. We have spent countless hours on the test suite, and doing the truffle test suite was one of the best decisions that we took. We have 3 different types of tests on this, and positive, negative tests, all these kind of things. And when you're writing the test, it actually opens your eyes to a lot of logical flaws that you might have overlooked. But even after doing all of this, you still might miss out on some security vulnerabilities or some logical flaws. So it's always very essential to have a formal security audit on your contract and also a public bug bounty. Having a public bug bounty helps the community get involved with your project, helps them see what you're doing. Because a token sale, a blockchain company is all about transparency. It's all about giving control back to the users. And that's what we are doing at Endorse. We are coming up with a public bug bounty quite soon. Yeah, so here we are, changing the world one validation at a time. Thank you. Any questions?
We have about 15 minutes for questions, if anyone has.
Yes.
So you said that all the user profiles or the PLs or whatever information they're all stored decentralized. Is that right? Okay. Okay. So are they on the unity?
No, so the data, which is the user data, it's not on the Ethereum blockchain, it's stored on BigchainDB, which is a decentralized database.
So, okay, when you say decentralized, Indoors is managing all the systems, is that right?
So yeah, right now we are still trying to figure out some legal implications with distributing the data with some other jurisdictions, and hence we are managing all the big chain nodes. The idea is to decentralize the nodes and make it even more distributed in the future.
Just for the reason just for legal redundancy, right?
Yeah, it's about data redundancy and having less control over the data as a company.
That's what we need. Also, the plan is that at some point there will be multiple users of it.
Yes. Right. We could also use things like
incentivize people to actually have the
we could also use things like IPDB, where there is also an incentive mechanism or incentive layer to actually store other people's data.
Thank you.
What else?
Well, appreciate you narrative.
Thank you for coming.
You did not show any subsequent fashion to on, particularly with regard to the point of distinction in your creation. And you say that there's a competition that you want to test, and validation is indeed your benchmark. I'm talking like that. Show us what exactly the point of difference is that if the others in the marketplace, leading players, all contributors that you think that yours is something far outright your other kind of capability. The capability that you give, how to ensure that yours is unbreakable and trusted solid enough to say that we can use that as a basis of, a stable platform that we think, based on merits of trial and test that we've gone through, is something that really of warranty that we must consider. It's not proposition, not what we have the best formula, that we think that we should never miss your kind of R&D that you're trying to do. So can you help us with that?
So I'll just repeat the question to make sure that I understand it right. So I think you're trying to ask me that about the difference or the value proposition of Indore, right? How we are better than other players in the market. Is that what you're asking? Okay, great. So yeah, I think that's a good point. I should have mentioned it in the beginning. So we are trying to solve three main problems, and that's how I think we can differentiate ourselves from the existing players in the market. The first one is about your data ownership. So on Indores, you own your data. With the existing platforms, you might not be able to own your data. They can take your data, do anything they want with it. Second point is that with the existing platforms, you make these platforms valuable. Every connection you add, according to Metcalfe's law, the value of any social network is directly proportional to the number of users in the network. So that means that every new person that is added to the network, it exponentially increases the value of the network. Every like and share that you do on Facebook and LinkedIn is making them a lot of dollars. What do you get out of it? We are trying to solve that problem with Indores as well. And the third problem is about validations, as I mentioned. So today was all about validations. I did not touch about the monetization part because it's going to come later down the year. But yeah, first we are trying to solve the validation problem, get the users on the platform, and then we'll go ahead and start monetizing the platform as well. So we are going to get revenue already, but yeah, we'll start it next year.
Is there time for one more question? Maybe just briefly talk about civil attack prevention, because that's one of my favorite topics. And how it's working on solving that.
Yeah, sure. So, yeah, civil attack is one of the major problems that is actually troubling the entire blockchain industry. Because see, with blockchain, with Bitcoin, with Ethereum, any of the blockchains, public blockchains, your identity is pseudonymous in nature. I won't say that your identity is completely anonymous, because there have been cases where the authorities have been able to find people who belong to that Ethereum address or Bitcoin address. But the major challenge for any social network on the blockchain, or for that matter, any network, is having civil attacks. You cannot attach an identity with this Ethereum address or with this, symbol of 32-byte characters, and that's what we are trying to solve. How do you know that this person has only one account on the platform or multiple accounts on the platform? When I say that Vitalik is on Indoors, how would I prove that he is on Indoors? Not with Vitalik, but with other people. How we are trying to solve this is there are 3 steps. One is we are asking them to attach multiple other social profiles to their account, and then we score each of the social profiles. And based on this, we get a confidence score for every profile. We also ask them to attach the report identity and also the civic identity. So civic actually is a very good network or very good platform where they actually do all the verification for you. And as a service provider or as a platform, you could buy those attestations. So suppose that you create an account on Civic, you do all the KYC on Civic through some validator like a bank or a financial institution or even a utility company. So this validator, that he will start giving out attestations for your KYC. So when Indoors wants to verify your account, I don't need to do all the KYC again or all the validations again because it has been done by someone else, and I could just buy those attestations. So that's one of the solutions we are looking at as well. Anything you want to add, David?
No, I think this is a generic problem with any sort of decentralized network is civil attack prevention. So I think the approach that we're taking, which is using multiple methodologies, and then eventually moving into like an AI-based algorithm now, I think will be very helpful with that as well. Hopefully we'll be able to solve that problem now.
Cool. Any last questions?
Great. Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you for attending.
So that'll be March 9th. March 9th. Yeah. How are you? How's everything? What's that? Oh yeah. Has it been a year? You guys must be swamped. Okay. No, it's okay.
Nice.
Yeah. Yeah. So technologically, we're trying to solve that as well. We're trying not to be that party as much as we can. Avoid that. We have an idea of how to do it. It's just, can you get there quick enough without having a problem before?
So which one do you think? Some ideas?
Yeah, we have a good idea of how to do it. Using essentially the individual is their control of that. So it's kind of like instead of us spinning up and storing it, we're spinning up and storing it and connecting to the network. So it's your device in a way. It doesn't matter if it's split or not at that point, right? It can be central, but it's your central. It's your cloud. It's not our cloud. So we just become the system to make that instigate that. So I think we can avoid a lot of things if we figure that one out.